Welcome guys, welcome to today's lecture. Now today is the last lecture of vector integration series. Before I start anything, let's discuss about a particular concept. See, this is an open surface, maybe a sheet of paper or sheet of rubber or anything. Why this is open? Because in any direction it can be stretched without any limit if the elasticity of the thing permits, but whatever. Now see, you can expand mathematically and practically in any direction, not only in these directions. These arrows are specifying that this surface can be expanded arbitrarily in arbitrary direction, and that's why it is an open surface. And for the open surface, we deal with the open surface integral. Now, this thing is a cube. That means a volume. So, for a volume, we use volume integrals. But this is an open surface, like a paper. Now, using gums, you make this open paper into this cube. So, this is the same old paper. Now, using gums, you have enclosed it, or you have closed the paper properly so that it encloses a volume, a cubic volume. So, whenever a open surface encloses properly, it encloses actually a volume, or an closed surface always represents a volume within it. And in case of closed surfaces, we have closed surface integral. So, in case of this cube, we have two probabilities: one, volume integration; two, closed surface integration. What does it mean? It actually means that there is a relation between closed surface integral and volume integral. Just like my previous lectures, I have discussed about Stokes theorem, where an open line encloses into a open surface. A closed line always encloses a open surface. So there was a relation between closed line integral and open surface integral. Just like that, here is also a relation. The theorem is called Gauss's divergence theorem, which tells us how this closed surface integral is linked with a volume integral. This is the relation. Volume integration V del dot F dV equals to closed surface integration over S F dot n cap ds, where n cap is the unit normal to this surface S. I have told you already in my previous lecture that Stokes theorem is a powerful tool. Why? Because it converts the surface integral into a line integral, that is a complex form to a simple form. In analogy with that, this is also a very powerful tool. Why? Because we all know that volume integrals are a quite bit simpler than the surface integrals. Actually, in my opinion, between these three types of integrals, the most complex is the surface integral. Why? Because in case of surface integration, you have to deal with some projections, and if you mistake while taking the projection, then everything is gone. Rather, the line integral and the volume integral are quite safe, and of course easy to evaluate. So I prefer always to use any theorem or any tricks so that surface integrals can be converted into a line integral or a volume integral. Okay, let's proceed to our first problem. Evaluate this surface integral where S is the cube that is cut from the first octant by the planes given x equals to 1, y equals to 1 and z equals to 1. Now visualize the cube. The cube is this thing. Now remember one thing, you don't have to draw the cube to answer the question. I have drawn it only to visualize the cube, only to give you the concept of the cube. This is the first octant, this is the second octant, this is the third, this is the fourth, and like 5, 6, 7 and 8 are given in the below. But we are dealing with the first octant. So this cube, everything is positive here. And what is the value of these edges? 1, because x equal to 1, y equal to 1, z equal to 1. So let's apply the Gauss's divergence theorem first. F is given as I cap x square plus j cap y square plus k cap z square. So after doing the dot product, we are left with 2 x plus y plus z dx dy dz. First, we shall proceed through the z integration. Now I am very sorry guys, this is a printing mistake, because in this line that will be a dx dy, not a dy dz. I am very sorry for that. Please make a correction in your answer book. Now after doing the z integration, we are left with this, and after putting the values of upper and lower limits, we are left with this one. And now you know already how these volume integrations are done, and then we will proceed through y integration, then at last x integration. So actually this integration is the most simple integration in volume integration. In my previous lecture, I have already demonstrated a lot about volume integrations, so I hope you have gone through them and now you have a well grip over the volume integration method. If you have not gone through the volume integration lecture, then I request you to go through them, because that will help you in my upcoming problems. Now our second problem. Evaluate this surface integral where S is given the surface of the sphere. Now see, before I proceed, if you go straight forward as the surface integration, then nothing is specified here. So you will have to do the 8 octants. So you have to deal with the 8 octants projections, 8 integrations, and then you will combine the 8 integrations and then you will have the answer. But what happened when we apply the Gauss's divergence theorem? The dot product gives us this line. So y 5 triple integral dv. What is this triple integral dv means? It is actually the volume of this sphere. And what is the formula for third pi r cube? R is the radius of the sphere. This is 25, that means 5 square. So this becomes x square plus y square plus z square equal to 5 square. So 5 is the radius. So this b becomes 4/3 pi 5 cube. This is the volume of this sphere. Let's put that and we have the answer 2500 by 3 pi. See, the most easy method of converting a complex surface integral into a easy volume integral. Now our next problem. Evaluate closed surface integral f dot ds using divergence theorem where S is the surface of this type. This is a conical surface and f is given. Now before I proceed, see, actually always you may not get this type of language. Evaluate this thing using divergence theorem. This closed surface integral S f dot ds is actually the flux through the closed surface S, flux of this vector. So you may get the question like, evaluate the flux of the vector through a surface S, where S is the surface is given like that. So irrespective of flux of the vector through a surface or evaluate this integration, you are free to use the divergence theorem. Let's use the divergence theorem first. The dot product gives us 4 dv integration triple integral v. So what is the triple integral dv? It is actually the volume of this cone given by this equation. Now what is the value of the volume? 1/3 pi r square h. See, z equals to 2, x square plus y square less or equal to than 2 square now. So r equals to 2. And what is the value of h? That is also the z, that is 2. So the volume will be 1/3 pi 2 square into 2. Let's put that into the equation and we get the result as 32/3 into pi. Watch carefully these two particular problems. In these two problems, we are left with the volume of the given closed surface. Now see, this is a sphere, this is a cone. These are the specified geometrical shaped volumes. So this type of direct using volume of the cone or volume of the sphere or say volume of the cylinder can be used only for the specified geometrical volumes, not for the non-geometrical volumes, like say a stone, arbitrarily shaped a stone. Then you cannot use the volume of the stone because you don't know the formula. Okay. Evaluate the surface integral using divergence theorem, where S is given as the tetrahedron with vertices given like 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0 and 0, 0, 1, and F is also given. Now this is the equation of the tetrahedron. Actually A, B, C are also given. See, this is the x cutting point, this is the y cutting point, this is the z cutting point. This is the A, that is 1, this is the B, that is also 1, this is the C, that is also 1. So we are left with the equation as x plus y plus z equals to 1. Now this is a unique problem. Actually this is a problem which shows us that always surface integrals are not so tough, or volume integrations are not so easy, because in this process you will see that this volume integration is a little bit tough one. Now now before applying the divergence theorem, these are the respective upper and lower limits of z. Now in my previous lectures I have told you how to use the dependent upper limits. For z you have 1 minus x minus y. Now when we reduce one variable, we put the variable equals to 0, so we are dropping z. Now we have x plus y equals to 1, so y will vary from 0 to 1 minus x. Now we drop the y, then we are left with x equals to 1, so the limit of x will be 0 to 1. Clear? Now before I start this problem, if you are new to my channel, then please subscribe and of course don't forget to hit the notification bell to have the future updates. Okay, let's back to our problem now. Let's apply the divergence theorem. This is the divergence theorem, and we have the f is given here. So after doing the dot product, we are left with 8x plus 2y plus 2 pi sine pi z dx dy dz. Now see, this problem is also a volume integration, but not so easy type. Why? Because the upper limits are dependent type, not independent type. So the process is also the same. I have already showed you in my previous lectures. First, the z integration. After putting the upper and lower limits, we are left with this thing. Then we are left with the simplified form of that. So this is a very actually this is a quite big looking expression, I know. Now we have done the y integration, and after simplifying we are left with the x integration like this one. Then the x integration gives us the result 4 by pi square. Now this type of volume integrations are very crucial only for the limits. If you have the limits, okay, then this is nothing. Only some steps, maybe lengthy, but some steps only. But for that, you have to determine the limits properly. Now, our fifth problem, evaluate this integral using divergence theorem, where S is the surface given by, actually this is a spherical surface of radius 6, and Z, this is the positive Z direction, so that will be a hemisphere in the positive direction, and F is given. Now let's visualize the hemisphere. See, this is the hemisphere. Z greater than 0, that means all the 4 octants, 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 octants will be used. Again, if you do the straightforward closed surface integration, then you will know, you will have to determine the 4 integrations in 4 different octants and then add them. But instead of that, we are having the divergence theorem tool. Now after the dot product, we have 3 x square plus y square plus z square dv. Now what is the value of x square plus y square plus z square? That is r square. And what is the value of dv in spherical coordinates? That is r square sine theta dr d theta d phi. You already are familiar with the spherical and cylindrical surface elements and the volume elements. Now see, these are independent variables. Actually these 3 integrations are independent now with independent upper and lower limits, so we can determine them independently and simultaneously. Okay, I know the answer is quite big, but forget the answer. See the procedure. Whenever your problem deals with some specified geometrical pattern, then you have the provision of parametric equations, and once you have the parametric equations for you, then it is very easy for you to do the maths, just like this one. Now let's do the next problem. Evaluate a dot n cap ds, where a is given and s is the surface of the cylinder. This is given. 16 means 4 square, so the radius of this cylinder equals to 4. Cut from the first octant by the planes given. Now the whole cylinder is cut at the first octant. Let's visualize the problem. Actually it's just like a say pastry cake. See, this surface is nothing but a pastry cake shape. Now this is a very easy problem because it deals with the first octant. Okay, actually there is another typing mistake. It must be an enclosed surface integral, because this is actually a closed surface integration. Okay, so in your answer book, please make the correction and make it a closed line, a closed surface integral. It is actually closed surface integral over S A dot n cap ds. Now let's apply the divergence theorem. The dot product gives us 3y square dv. Now see, this is a straightforward cylindrical problem. So x equal to r sin phi, sorry, r cos phi, y is equal to r sin phi. These are the parametric forms. Okay, and z equals to z. And what are the limits? See, z equals to 0 to z equal to 0 to 5. This is, since it is in only first octant, so we are bound by pi by 2 only, because the whole cylinder will get a 2 pi value of phi. Now this is only the first octant, so we are left with only the pi by 2. And as you know, 16 is 4 squared, so r is limited to 0 to 4. So let's put our parametric equation in the volume integration. You are very familiar with this type of volume integrations, because in my previous lecture, the volume integration lecture, I have discussed a lot about this type of integrations. So this integration is very easy for you guys. The only thing is determination of the upper and lower limits. So 240 is the answer. I know you can do it easily. Now let's proceed to a unique problem. Use the divergence theorem to evaluate this integral where f is given, n points outward, that is natural. S is a surface bounded by the paraboloid, this one, and the plane z equals to 1. Why this is a most unique problem in this whole lecture? Soon you will see. First, we are visualizing the problem. See, this is a paraboloid cut by the z equals to 1 plane. So this r, actually this is the plane. Okay, this is the plane z equals to 1, and the whole thing, this thing actually, this is the paraboloid. So the whole thing encloses a volume. Okay, now see, there is no given particularly upper and lower limits for the variables. Only z equal to x square plus y square is given, and z equals to 1. So you have only z equal to 1, that value, and x square plus y square equal to 1, that value. It is clear that we will have to use the polar form, because x square plus y square equal to 1. It indicates a polar form, but it also indicates that there is a Cartesian form also, because there is no polar form for z here. That's why this is a unique problem. After the divergence theorem, this is the problem. So z equal to x square plus y square to 1. Naturally, this is the upper cutting plane. So this is the upper value of z, this is the upper value of z, and this is the lower value of z, and the rest is r. So this is a surface integral over r, and the dot product gives us, first dot is, there is no x, so 0. Second one is given like this, and third one is given like this one. This is very easy, you can do it. Now, why it is unique? First, we will proceed through the natural Cartesian integration through z integration. Then we will proceed through the parametric forms. So this is a mixture of Cartesian format and polar format, and that's why this is a very unique problem. See, after putting the upper and lower limits of z, we are left with this thing. I know this is a quite a big expression, but believe me, that's why this is a very unique process. Now let's put the two-dimensional polar equation like x equal to r cos theta, y equal to r sin theta. Okay, After putting the values and simplifying the formats, we have this thing. Now see, there is 3 integrations. This integration containing cos square theta sin theta, this integration containing cos theta, and the purely R type integration. Now you can do the maths like first R integration, then the theta integration. But this cos square theta sin theta and cos theta within the limits 0 to 2 pi is very unique. Why? Let's see. This is the first integration. If we proceed through first theta integration, then R integration, then in my first integration, I face the 0 to 2 pi cos square theta sin theta. Clearly it is 0. And in my second integration, I shall get 0 to 2 pi cos theta sin cos theta d theta. This is also 0. So if I proceed through first theta integration, then R integration, I left with 2 0 integrations. So these 2 integrations are cancelled out, and I am left with only the pure R integration. Now this is a very unique process. Why? Because it reduces your problem. You don't have to do the other 2 integrations because they are 0. Now this is a very common problem. This is a very simple problem. You can easily separate these 2 integrals and independently you can do the maths, and the answer is pi by 2. Once again, I am telling you that I can only advise you, I can only guide you through the problems. See, in my various lectures, I have discussed about different types of problems. But it is you who will do the maths, who will face the challenges. So I advise you always practice as much problems as you can. So this was our last problem. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope you have enjoyed the video.